So years ago I bought a really cheap router for a single project. I would like to use it again, but my biggest plan is actually to build a router table with it. The problem with this particular model though is that the switch is just a push button, so you need to keep pressure on it to operate the device. So my plan is to replace it with one of those switches. It shouldn't be a big problem, especially the size is actually almost the same as the original button, but make sure you are really paying attention when working on electrical appliances. I'm not an electrician myself, so yeah, maybe use advice for people who do this regularly, and yeah, just make sure that you don't take any unnecessary risks. So this is how it looks like once you open the side panel. On this particular device, it's really easy. You just need to loosen 2 screws and you can access the switch. So the switch basically just bridges the 2 phases once you push it. So it would bridge here number 1 with number 2 and number 3 with number 4. If you're not sure on your particular switch, make sure you use one of those multimeter just to see exactly how the switch operates. So on this particular switch, it would basically mean we would either get in with the 2 phases here. So this would basically turn on the light as soon as we plug in the device. Or if you only want the light to turn on when you switch it, just get in with the 2 phases here, and you would plug in the red cable in this case to the opposite side. You could in theory also solder it to this switch, but it's not recommended because the heat from the soldering might basically melt the plastic. So use horseshoes to make sure it works. I'm gonna do it and turn on later. So in the meantime, I cut a small piece of plastic here that would have actually blocked the way for cables to attach to the switch. And now, like I said, the best way is to use connectors like these. Make sure you also use some isolation just to stay on the safe side. And you can use, of course, a crimp tool like this. If you don't have one, I guess you can just use a pair of pliers, but this is probably the best way to go. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 other ones, and yeah, let's see, stay tuned. So in order to make sure that the switch is working as intended and to avoid any short circuits, the safest way is to use a multimeter like this. So you just turn it to resistance. Any value should work. Just point the 2 probes on an end of the sticker. So this is like the connector 1 and 2, and if we push it, then the value should change. So in this case, this is really the bridge that is happening here within the switch. Now I crimped all 4 wires. The shrinking tube can be shrunk using something as simple as a lighter, a candle. The best is probably a hot air gun or just a blow dryer like this. This is what I'm going to use to shrink it. It's going to take a little bit more time than with a hot air gun, but it does the job eventually. Alright, now we have the 4 wire is ready. So we want to have cable 1 going in here. Oh, we can actually also use the other side. That's gonna link to number 2. So this is gonna be 1, the first bridge. And then we have number 3 going in here. That is gonna connect number 4. And if I did everything right, that should work. All right, moment of truth. Let's check if it's working. Yeah, a little light goes on once you turn it on. Now I just need to make it fit. So in my case, it's a very tight fit because of the cable. So I just had to bend the connectors a bit upwards. Yeah, might have just get rid of some of the plastic membranes, but I guess that should do the trick. It actually wasn't such a perfect fit. So I just had to file pieces of the left and the right wall. But now I think it's a pretty good fit. It's not perfect, but it's actually hold on in place pretty well. And yeah, it's good enough for me. Hope it can help you with your project. I know that this particular model was sold under different names, different brands. So yeah, I think maybe many of you might still have one of those and might also be keen on converting it to be able to use without holding the button all the time. Thanks for watching and see ya.